Welcome back to Planet Doug and welcome back to Kuala Lumpur. I guess I should explain why I'm here and why I'm back in my old neighborhood. It actually feels a little bit weird to me because I got so used to being in Port Dickson. I was down in Port Dickson for maybe 1 week, but for some reason it felt like a very intense week. I really got a sense of being in Port Dickson, being in somewhere new, putting down roots in a very short amount of time. And now that I kind of woke up back here in Kuala Lumpur, I just stepped outside of my hotel and I feel a little bit in a daze, like I'm waking up from a dream. It's like, well, why am I here? It just feels odd to be back here. And there's a little bit of a story to go along with that. I was renting a room from a friend of a friend in Port Dickson, but then this is a holiday weekend, Independence Day here in Malaysia, so a lot of people have a long weekend, they have days off, and the family of the man I was staying with decided to come to Port Dickson for the weekend, and a lot of people are coming, and because of that everyone decided for me that it would be better if I wasn't there. So I thought, okay, yeah, I can leave for a few days, make room for the family. And then I still had a whole bunch of things to do here in KL, the usual camera gear repair. I had to pick up my Hero 12, which I picked up yesterday. So I'm shooting this video on my GoPro Hero 12. And as the story went there, the LCD screen on my 12 was malfunctioning, so I brought it in under warranty, but then they sent the camera to the distributor, the GoPro distributor in Malaysia, and they tested the camera and they couldn't replicate the LCD failure. So they just sent it back and said there's nothing wrong with this GoPro. And I know there's something wrong with it because I saw it with my own eyes. But they couldn't see the problem. It didn't happen for them. So basically they just sent it back. So I picked it up yesterday and I'm shooting on the Hero 12 now. So I needed to do that. And I had my GoPro Hero 9 was also in for repairs. And I told the story elsewhere that the company that was working on my Hero 9 was just horrible at communicating. I was getting nothing from them. No information, no feedback, no communication. No matter how many times I contacted them, they would not reply. And they wouldn't tell me what was going on. So the other day I sent them a little bit of an angry message. I got a little bit upset with them and told them how disappointed I was in their poor customer service. And that message triggered them, apparently. So I got a whole series of messages all of a sudden apologizing for the lack of communication and saying that they've been super busy and they have a lot of repairs to do. So that's why my repair was taking a long time. Of course, my response to all those messages was, well, there's two issues. How long it's going to take, well, that's a separate issue. My issue with them was, you're not telling me anything. So, okay, it's going to take you 2 months to fix my GoPro. Well, you got to tell me that. You have to communicate with the customer. And companies, in my experience in Malaysia, camera companies are very poor about communicating. They just won't tell the customer anything. You really have to bug them and bug them and bug them to get them to do anything. But anyway, because I got angry with them and sent them a little bit of an unfriendly message, then they responded. And apparently now they're actually working on my GoPro Hero 9. And I may be able to pick it up today or on Monday, I'm not really sure. They've stopped communicating again, so who knows what's going on there. So I've got that going on, and I have a couple of camera lenses in my bag now that have developed fungus. These are other lenses I haven't fixed yet, so I'm bringing them in today, hopefully to get them cleaned. So camera gear, and I have my lovely electric kettle from Indonesia that I bought, and it broke down this morning as well. It's like everything is breaking down. It's like maybe these things come in cycles. But anyway, since the man I was renting a room from in PD kind of said to me, well, it'd be better if you weren't here this weekend. I said, well, okay, I'll make a trip up to KL. I'll take care of all these things while I'm in KL, and then I'll go back to Port Dickson. And that turned into another little bit of an adventure because my friend KY came down to Port Dickson to pick me up. Very kind of him. We made a whole day out of it. He picked me up and then we drove into KL. He went with me to go pick up my Hero 12. And then we went out for lunch and he dropped me off at my hotel. And here I am back in Kuala Lumpur for the weekend, 4 or 5 days, I guess. And then I'll be returning to Port Dickson. So that brings you up to date on what's going on. Back at Masjid Jamek station, and I'm hopping on the train and I'm gonna go to Pudu, YL camera, drop off my lenses. I hope they're open. It's not a good time to be in KL running errands because of the holiday. I don't know what businesses are gonna be open, what ones are gonna be closed. I'm just crossing my fingers and going there and hoping they'll be open. So let's go. Yeah, got a lot to do today. Power of the touch and go. It's always fun coming back to KL because I get to use my touch and go card again. And now I have to think for a minute, make sure I don't go on the wrong train. My feet might take me to the wrong place just by force of habit, but I think I need to go this way. This particular train I've mentioned before, for whatever reason, I just miss it all the time. I'll just get on the platform just to see the train leaving. So I'm moving faster than normal just to make sure I don't just miss the train. So I hear a train arriving. Yeah, look at that. Every time I take this train, it just shows up out of nowhere. Had I been 30 seconds later, I would have missed it or would have been running to catch it again. Yeah, I've got a weird relationship with this train. And we're not going very far. I just got on here at Masjid Jamek and I'm just going 3 stops to Pudu. That's where YL camera is located. And I'll probably get lunch at 68 Economy Rice there. It's been nice having the GoPro Hero 12 back for many reasons. It's just a smoother experience than using the Hero 9. The Hero 9 dates from GoPro's glitchy days. Things didn't quite work all that well, but the Hero 12, I think they fixed everything. And yeah, it's just nice to have the 12 back. Hopefully the LCD screen doesn't fail. We'll see what happens. My suspicion is that the reason the LCD screen failed was because of overheating in Vietnam. And the overheating comes from the fact that I'm shooting in 4K and that I'm using a media mod, and the media mod seals in the heat. So when the distributor, GoPro distributor, was testing my Hero 12, they would just turn on the GoPro and look at it. It was like, oh, there's nothing wrong with it. But of course, they're not running it for an hour in the heat of the outside world inside a media mod. So we'll see if my using it triggers the problem again. And speaking of GoPros and cameras, we're starting to see leaks about the new GoPro. It comes out every fall. The new one is going to be the GoPro Hero 13. Should be coming out in September, maybe October. I'm not sure of the date. But we're starting to get a few leaks, some pictures of the new camera and of the packaging. People are speculating about the new features, things like that. And what I know for sure, based on the photographs, is that they've added a magnetic quick release clip system to the GoPro. So we'll see how they implemented it, but I like what I see. I was worried that they were going to try to compete with DJI and the Ace Pro by adding a quick release clip system, magnetic quick release, but then they were going to get rid of the old GoPro systems And I like the old GoPro systems. I don't want the quick release, the clip system. So I was worried they were going to switch over entirely and get rid of the old system. But they figured out a way to add the clip quick release and keep the old systems. So now you're going to have access to 3 different systems, or 4 technically. The new quick release, the GoPro fingers, like the permanent mounting system. Then you have the quick release buckle system, and they have the tripod mount screw. So you get basically, in theory, the best of all worlds. And they seem to have changed the battery. So it's a brand new battery, bigger battery that lasts longer. And the way they position it, they're trying to get rid of the heat. So they put the battery in a different way so that it's closer to the case of the camera. And then they put a big heat sink there. So I think they're trying to drain off a lot of the heat that the battery produces. And we'll see if that works or not. Just trying to make sure I'm not missing my stop. Yeah, I don't think this is Pudu yet. No, I think we're okay. So, yeah, I think that's all I know about the Hero 13. They've added a bunch of new lenses, a macro lens, anamorphic lens, ND filters, super slow motion, but none of those things are of any use to me. So in terms of the new features, it's just the new battery with the new heat dissipation design and the quick release clip mechanism. Other than that, I don't know what other changes there are going to be. Nothing in the 13 gets me that excited. The 12 working fine for me. So at this point in time, I don't see myself upgrading to the 13. There's no need to do it. Assuming my Hero 12 keeps working. Arrived at Pudu Station. Should be a short walk to get to YL Camera. I just have to get across a busy road, things like that. Coming down the escalator. Had a couple of interesting experiences on the way into town with KY. As I said, he picked me up in his car and drove me all the way to KL and dropped me off at my hotel. Very kind of him. Got to escape from the LRT system. Touch and go. Didn't get to use my touch and go in Port Dickson at all, so it's fun to be able to use it again. Though I use my eWallet all the time, so it's also the touch and go eWallet. I use that in Port Dickson daily, but didn't use the card that I can remember. But yeah, the experiences that I had on the road. One was, we're driving down a highway, typical Malaysian highway system, very busy, but had some wide shoulders. And then ahead of us, KY and I, we spotted somebody walking alongside the road. And from behind, I could tell there was something different about this person. You almost instantly can tell a foreigner when you see them from a distance. There's something about the way they move, the way they look. You may not be able to pinpoint it exactly, but overall you get, oh, look, foreigner. You just pick it up instantly. And in this case, I think the clues were, this guy was super tall, like really, really tall guy. And just the way he was dressed. And he was pushing kind of a three-wheeled trailer, like a stroller ahead of him. And I thought, okay, I know this. I've seen this before. A person who looks like that. And I guessed instantly that this was a dude who was on a mission to walk around the world or walk around Asia. He's basically a traveler, long distance, nomad, and his goal is to walk everywhere. That's his whole thing. And I picked all that up instantly when I saw the guy. So KY pulled over to the side and I jumped out of the car just to go talk with him. Here's the busy street I mentioned in Pudu. And to get across it, pedestrian bridge right over there. Yeah, when I jumped out of KY's car, I had mixed feelings because I know that this guy would get a lot of questions. He's been doing this for years, I found out, and he has a YouTube channel and he has an Instagram page. He's more active on Instagram than YouTube. He doesn't post a lot to either site, but he does post regularly to Instagram. And his page and his channel, they're called The Indefinite Walk. The Indefinite Walk, and his name is Sebastian. Tall, slim guy. I think he's taller than I am by a good number of inches. And he's from Australia, young guy. I think he had his 30th birthday in India when he was on the road. And after I met him, of course, I went online, I went onto Instagram, I went onto YouTube, watched all his videos, looked at all of his photos on Instagram, and I tried to piece together his story. I don't have all the details yet, but I found out a few things. And he's definitely had some challenges along the way, particularly in India. I think his time in India and then in Indonesia, he walked all the way through India, then he walked all the way through Sumatra, and right now, as I said, he's in Malaysia. So he's walking through Malaysia. And I think his time in India, Sumatra, Malaysia, it's his first time in Asia. Like, don't quote me on that, but I think it is. So he's having all of these experiences that I kind of take for granted for the first time. And he's had some hardships, as I said. He contracted a typhoid when he was in India. So everybody seems to get really sick in India, no matter who you are. So he's been down and out for weeks at a time, going into hospitals, getting treated for typhoid and probably dysentery and who knows what all. So he had some difficult times in India. But as I said, now he's in Malaysia. I saw him at the side of the highway, and again when KY stopped the car, I was a little bit conflicted about talking to him because I didn't want to bother him. He's probably walking along, he's listening to a podcast, listening to music, doing something, and then if all day long people come up to him and ask him the same dumb questions like, oh, where are you from, and how many kilometers a day do you walk, and how do you go to the bathroom when you're walking all day? Where do you sleep at night? How long have you been on the road? How many countries have you been to? I didn't want to ask him all of the obvious questions that 100 people a day are probably asking him. And I'm sure he enjoys meeting people. That's why you do something like that. If you're walking around the world, the main thing that keeps you going is that because you're doing something unusual, people want to talk to you and want to hear your story, and a lot of people want to help you on your journey. So yeah, so he doesn't really mind people talking to him, people like me, but at the same time I didn't want to disrupt his day and I didn't want to ask him the same questions. And right at that time I was still thinking about this whole thing about I have to find a new place to live in Port Dickson. So I had a lot going on in my mind, so I was feeling a little bit confused, a little bit befuddled. And so I ran up to Sebastian. I don't even know what I said anymore, but I basically said hi, and I told him that I've done a bit of traveling myself and I've gone on bicycle tours, so I can relate a little bit to what he was doing, his whole I'm going to walk around the world journey, his whole expedition. And then I got a little bit of information from him. His name was Sebastian, from Australia. And the name of his social media brand, I guess, The Indefinite Walk. That was the main thing I wanted to find out, because then I could look him up online and find out everything. I didn't need to ask him in person. So anyway, I chatted with him for just a short amount of time. And then I said, yeah, I don't want to bother you. And the whole time I'm thinking, how can I help this guy? I'm talking to him, and I was thinking, what do I have a cold drink I can give him? Do I have any snacks I can give him? Can I give him information, help him out? Because he was on his way, it looked like he was on his way to Kuala Lumpur. And I'm thinking, well, while he's in KL, where is he going to stay? And maybe we can meet up. Maybe I can give him some other help while he's here. I had all these thoughts, but I was a little bit flustered and didn't have a lot of time to talk to him. We're at the side of a busy highway with cars roaring past. So I didn't actually establish any of that with him. But I did send him a message on Instagram. I'm not very good with Instagram, so I'm hoping to learn. But it turns out I can send him a message on Instagram, and I tried to touch base and say, well, if you're in KL over the weekend, I'll be here for the weekend, and if you want to meet up or something, get in touch, and I'll come to you wherever you are. He doesn't have to walk to my hotel. I can come to him because I probably know KL a bit better than he does. But anyway, he hasn't replied so far. He hasn't seen my message so far, and I don't think he will. Like I said, I don't think he's very active on social media. So anyway, that was one of the adventures I had, meeting Sebastian, the indefinite walk around the world. Yeah, that was quite interesting. I hope to learn a bit more about him. So here I am. I'm in Pudu now, and YL Camera is in here, this big yellow beast of a building. And I don't go into YL Camera itself. They have a service center on the second floor, and I'm going to go up there and see if I can drop off my Panasonic 12 to 35 millimeter lens. Luckily, I don't have to find out where this place is. I had a heck of a time finding it the first time, having to go back to YL Camera a couple of times to get more detailed instructions, like where is this place? And but now I don't have to ask because I've done it already and I know exactly where it is. At least I think I do. I'm just hoping that they haven't closed early for the holidays. I took this Panasonic lens to Panasonic because it is a complex lens, and they told me that it would be better if Panasonic did it because they have the more sophisticated tools to work on that kind of lens, or the spare parts or things like that. So I did go to Panasonic, but they wanted 750 ringgit to clean this lens. And YL, they quoted me 250. So I'm gonna take a chance and get YL to do it. At least I'll have them take a look at the lens again today, and they can tell me how confident they feel that they can do it. So far, I'm in luck. There's YL Camera, and the doors are lit up and the steel shutters are not closed, so they are open. So my day is off to a good start. So I'm gonna pop in here and see what they can do for me. Yeah, YL Camera. If you need a camera lens repaired or serviced, or a camera repaired, yeah, these are good people here, very good. So that is the good news. They were open and they were there. There's a very helpful woman that runs the place, speaks excellent English. She's very kind and very efficient, and yeah, I love dealing with her. So that's all the good news. The bad news is, no, I can't realistically get it cleaned. Two major issues. One is that they're extremely busy, and they said it could take at least 1 to 2 months before they could even do it. So I would be waiting 2 months, and I'm tired of waiting for camera companies. I feel like I've been waiting so much here in Malaysia. So yeah, I don't really want to wait 2 months. And she said, well, the fungus, based on its location, she does this fancy business where she zooms in, looks for the fungus, and zooms out and looks for the fungus. And based on those results, her educated guess is that the fungus is growing inside the focus group, which is a sealed assembly of lenses. And if they open up the lens to clean it and they discover that it is inside a sealed assembly, they can't clean it. They would have to replace that whole assembly, and they don't have access to those sorts of parts. So I would end up paying them 200 to 300 ringgit for the work, and then they would just tell me that, yeah, sorry, we can't do it. So, yeah, I'm walking out and I still have the lens in my knapsack. And her suggestion was the most sensible one, which is that, like, as I told her, the fungus is so small, it doesn't affect image quality at all. I have to work really hard to even see it. You need a trained eye to even see it. So I would happily use the lens myself if I had a camera body to put it on. But she said, well, what you can do is just put it up for sale privately and just tell the buyer at a cheaper price, you know, you're getting a great bargain on this lens. It's a very good price because there's a little bit of fungus on the inside, and just tell them the issue. So that's where things stand right now. And the other good news is, by going on this errand, I'm just a block away from 68 mixed rice. All I got to do is get across this busy intersection and I should be in eggplant heaven. There we go. Don't want to get run over. And it's 11:30. A bit early for a meal for me, but I'm going to miss the lunchtime rush. There you are. Good night. Thank you. And there we have it. Nothing too terribly exciting. Just rice, fried egg, some eggplant, some greens, and a piece of fried chicken. And of course the iced tea next to the eggplant. That's probably my favorite thing here. Just lots of refills of iced tea. So that is it. Lunch is done. My errand run to Pudu is done. No success with the lens, but hey, now at least I know. Heading back to my neck of the woods by LRT once more. And I mentioned there were two interesting experiences with my trip into KL with KY yesterday. The first was meeting the Indefinite Walk guy, Sebastian from Australia. That was quite interesting. And the other interesting thing is that after we picked up my GoPro Hero 12 at Berjaya Times Square, KY brought me to Mid-Valley, the Mid-Valley shopping center. And he said he had something quite special to show me there. And of course it was lunch related. It was getting around lunchtime. So we went there and he brought me to a hidden food court. I mean, these big shopping malls, they all have really nice food courts. So the one at Mid-Valley is huge. You get all kinds of nice restaurants there at reasonably good prices. But it turns out a lot of these places also have a kind of hidden food court for staff. So you've got the fancy restaurants out in the shopping mall, but then behind those restaurants, hidden in a corner somewhere, there will be more like a low budget sort of food court, almost like an employee cafeteria almost. And KY knows all about these sorts of things, and he brought me there through this series of crazy underground tunnels. He's a bit like me in that he figures out the way he likes to get places, and then he dials in a particular pathway that takes him here, then up these stairs and through that tunnel. But he's way ahead of me on that score. He knows the city so much better than I do. But yeah, we parked in an underground parking lot in a separate building. And we did that because KY knew about this series of interconnected underground tunnels that brought us in a very convenient way from that underground parking lot to the hidden food court. And I had no idea where we were going. He was taking me through this tunnel system, and I was wondering, where the heck are we going? And then when I saw the food court, it was like, now I get it. And I know why KY was so excited about it, because he knew it was a place that I would really like. Very simple, very straight to the point. It's pretty much like 68 economy rice, but 20 of them. So it's like a big room with simple tables, like a high school cafeteria basically, and then all around the edges, it's like maybe 20 different restaurants serving food like that, where you can serve yourself. And we ended up getting, I got a big meal. Again, fried chicken, I got eggplant, I got a whole bunch of things, a big pile of food. And then KY got his lunch, and the two of them together, my lunch and his lunch, came to about 16 ringgit. And when the woman said 16 ringgit, I thought she was just telling me what my lunch cost. That's what mine would cost, and then KY's would be added onto that. But it turns out that was both of us together. So I was like, okay, pretty good deal. So yeah, good food, casual atmosphere. It's not fine dining, but I'm never really looking for fine dining. And yeah, good price. So that was my second surprise from the day. And then we got to the J Hotel Masjid India, where I'm staying again. Got a room there. It's my old room, the exact same one, 103A. Same thing. Me and this train, exactly the same timing every time. As soon as I arrive at the platform, I get here just in time to see the train leaving. Interesting. Train arriving. But that's not my train. It's going in the wrong direction. I suppose this feeling that I'm just missing the train every time, it's probably just because the train runs so frequently. I'm noticing right now it says the next train is coming in 1 minute. So even though I missed the train, there's going to be another one here in about a minute. So then chances are you're always going to be just missing the train or arriving just in time. So yeah, at the J Hotel, I got my old room back, 103A. I think it was the only one available, because every time I show up there, the better rooms on either side of me, they always seem to be occupied already. I always seem to show up when only 103A is available, which is fine. It's just not their finest room at this fine establishment. Yeah, and the J Hotel is right across the road from where all the sinkholes opened up. 2 of them that I know about so far. Here comes my train. So I just missed a train, but no big deal. I guess that's because there are 2 lines running here at the same time. They double up on the same tracks. Back at Masjid Jamek, there goes my train, and this poor woman was just like me, and this guy too. They both just missed the train, and her. They always have a nice lunch spread here as well. Well, not always, but quite a few days. You can get a good meal here, good snack. Take it home. Done that quite a few times. I've been seeing a lot of impressive flags in the lead up to Independence Day, but check that one out. Very top of the KL Tower. Of course, from here, it may not look that big because it's so far away, but when you take into account the scale of the tower and the height, that is a very impressive flag. That might be the winner of all the ones I've seen so far.